Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night with a burning sensation crawling up the middle of your chest, wondering what on earth you ate the night before? If you have, you're far from alone. That fiery, uncomfortable feeling, along with the sour taste, the tight throat, the constant throat clearing, is something a huge slice of the population deals with on a regular basis. Some studies suggest close to 1 in 5 adults experiences it at least weekly. And while it's easy to just reach for a chalky tablet and move on with your day, there's a much deeper story happening beneath the surface, one that involves a tiny valve, a very particular acid balance, and a handful of nutrients your body may be quietly begging for. This video is about that deeper story. We're going to walk through 5 nutrients naturally found in everyday foods that keep showing up in research on digestive comfort, why your body relies on them, and simple ways to start weaving them into your meals starting today. Before we jump in, a quick heads up. Everybody's digestive system is a little different, so nothing here replaces a conversation with your own doctor, especially if symptoms are frequent or severe. Now, if you find this kind of deep dive useful, consider subscribing and tapping the notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Let's get into it. Before we count down the 5 nutrients, it helps to understand the mechanics of what's actually going wrong when that burning feeling shows up. Picture the entrance to your stomach as a one-way security door. Every time you swallow, that door, doctors call it the lower esophageal sphincter, swings open just long enough to let food through. Then, it's supposed to slam shut and stay locked. That locking mechanism is what keeps the powerful acid your stomach uses to break down food exactly where it belongs. The trouble starts when that door gets a little lazy. Instead of clamping shut, it stays partly open, or it pops open at the wrong moments. When that happens, acid in partially digested food can splash back upward into the esophagus, a tube that, unlike your stomach, has no protective lining built to handle that kind of acidity. The result is that burning sensation behind your breastbone, a sour or bitter taste creeping into your mouth, a scratchy throat, a nagging cough, or even a sensation like there's a lump sitting in your throat that won't go away. Lie down at night and it often gets worse, since gravity is no longer helping keep things where they belong. Here's something that might surprise you. A lot of people assume the problem is too much stomach acid. So the instinct is to reach for something that neutralizes acid entirely. But there's a growing perspective among researchers and clinicians that for many people, the real issue isn't an acid overload. It's that the stomach isn't acidic enough, or that the door itself has weakened for reasons that have nothing to do with acid levels at all. When stomach acid drifts away from its naturally strong, acidic range, that little valve can lose its cue to stay shut, and the whole cascade begins. Long-term, unaddressed reflux can also wear down the tissue of the esophagus over time, which is exactly why getting to the bottom of it matters rather than just papering over the symptoms. With that foundation in place, let's count down 5 nutrients that show up again and again in research and traditional practice for supporting a more comfortable digestive experience, starting from number 5 and working our way up to the one most people overlook entirely. We're kicking things off with a spice most of us already have in the kitchen, but rarely think of as medicine: ginger. This knobby root, a cousin of turmeric and native to the tropical regions of Asia, has been used in traditional healing practices for thousands of years, long before anyone had a lab to explain why it worked. If you've ever had a wave of heartburn hit right as you're trying to fall asleep, you know how miserable that specific kind of discomfort is. One of the simplest home responses is chewing a small piece of fresh ginger. The reason it helps traces back to a group of naturally occurring compounds in ginger called phenolic compounds, which appear to have a calming, tension-releasing effect on the tissue lining your stomach and esophagus, easing some of the irritation that acid exposure creates. There's actual research behind this too. A study published in the journal Digestive Diseases and Sciences found that people who consumed ginger extract before eating experienced a meaningful drop in reflux symptoms, with some reports citing improvements as high as 40%. Beyond just soothing irritated tissue, ginger appears to calm inflammation directly, ease the kind of smooth muscle spasms associated with reflux, and encourage the stomach lining to produce a bit more protective mucus, which acts like a buffer against acid exposure. Some research has even linked ginger to suppressing the growth of Helicobacter pylori, a bacteria strongly associated with digestive upset and reflux symptoms. There's also a practical mechanical benefit at play. Ginger seems to encourage saliva production, which kickstarts the digestive process even before food reaches your stomach, and it may help speed up how quickly your stomach empties its contents into the small intestine. Think of it like clearing a traffic jam. The faster food moves through the system in an orderly way, the less opportunity there is for pressure to build up and push acid backward through that weakened valve. Bringing ginger into your daily routine doesn't have to be complicated. You can buy dried ginger in capsule form and take 1 or 2 after meals if you want something simple and portable. Or if you'd rather keep things closer to nature, peel a small piece of fresh ginger root and chew on it directly. Slice it thin and toss it into a stir-fry or salad, or blend it into a smoothie for a spicy warming kick. However you choose to use it, ginger is one of the most accessible, low-effort additions on this entire list. Next on our list is a combination that sounds more like a chemistry class than a home remedy. Zinc bonded with an amino acid called carnosine. This particular pairing has actually been used clinically in Japan since the mid-1990s as a way of supporting people dealing with chronic digestive discomfort, and research has continued to back up why it works so well. To understand why this combination matters, think about zinc's core job in the body. It's one of the primary minerals your cells rely on to rebuild and repair tissue, especially the delicate epithelial lining that coats your stomach, esophagus, and intestines. When that lining takes a beating from repeated acid exposure, zinc is part of the crew your body sends in to patch things back up. Pair it with carnosine, and you get a compound that seems to specifically target and calm inflammation, while helping restore the protective mucus layer that keeps your digestive tract cushioned from its own acid. There's an added benefit here too. Zinc has a track record of helping keep unwanted microorganisms, including that same Helicobacter pylori bacteria we mentioned earlier, from gaining too much ground in your stomach environment. Most people who take this as a targeted supplement use around 75 milligrams of zinc carnosine daily, though you'll want to check with a healthcare provider before starting any new supplement routine. The good news is you don't have to rely solely on a supplement bottle to get more zinc into your life. Foods like shellfish, grass-fed beef, and pumpkin seeds are all naturally rich sources. In fact, a single 1-ounce handful of pumpkin seeds delivers a solid chunk of your daily recommended zinc, somewhere in the neighborhood of 14%, plus a healthy dose of magnesium on top of that, making it a genuinely easy snack to keep at your desk or in your bag. Here's where things get a little counterintuitive, so stay with me. Our third nutrient combination is betaine hydrochloride paired with the digestive enzyme pepsin, and instead of reducing stomach acid, it actually helps restore it. This combination has a surprisingly long history. Some accounts trace rudimentary versions of it back to ancient Egyptian remedies, long before anyone understood the underlying chemistry, and it's been used in a more modern, refined form since the 1960s as an alternative approach to reflux. The logic behind it flips the popular assumption on its head. Instead of treating reflux as a problem of too much acid, it treats it as a problem of not enough. Remember that one-way security door we talked about earlier? It turns out that door takes its cue to stay shut partly from acid strength. When your stomach acid is properly strong, food gets broken down quickly and efficiently, digestion moves along smoothly, and the valve gets the correct signal to clamp closed. But if acid levels drift too weak, food lingers longer than it should, pressure builds, and that valve can lose its ability to seal properly, allowing contents to creep back upward. Betaine HCl helps directly restore that acid strength, while pepsin, a natural digestive enzyme, helps break dietary protein down into smaller, more manageable pieces your body can actually absorb. Together, they're often especially helpful for people who've noticed they struggle specifically with heavier protein-rich meals, or those who suspect their digestive symptoms trace back to acid levels that have simply become too weak over time. If someone wanted to explore this route, a common approach involves taking 2 to 4 capsules, typically dosed around 1,300 milligrams of betaine HCl with pepsin shortly before a meal, allowing it to support digestion right when it's needed most and giving that lower valve the chance to tighten back up and function the way it's supposed to. Many people who try this notice a difference within a few days, with continued improvement over several weeks as digestion normalizes. As always, this is exactly the kind of supplement where a conversation with your doctor first is a smart move, particularly because dosing needs can vary quite a bit from person to person. We're closing in on the top of our list now, and if you're finding this breakdown useful, this is a great moment to hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed. It genuinely helps this kind of research-backed content reach more people dealing with the same nightly discomfort you might be experiencing. Now, let's keep moving. Our second nutrient isn't a vitamin or mineral at all. It's a living community of organisms, and it might be the most underestimated player on this entire list. Probiotics are the beneficial bacteria and yeasts that live throughout your digestive tract, and their influence stretches far beyond just gut health as a vague buzzword. Here's a detail that tends to surprise people. Your gut has sometimes been nicknamed the body's second brain because of how much communication actually flows between your digestive system and your nervous system. Part of that communication involves neurotransmitters, including one called acetylcholine, that these gut bacteria help produce. Acetylcholine plays a direct role in stimulating the nerves responsible for opening and closing that same lower esophageal valve we've been talking about this whole video. In other words, a thriving population of friendly gut bacteria may be quietly helping keep that valve's timing in check. When that internal ecosystem gets thrown out of balance, which can easily happen after a round of antibiotics, frequent use of certain medications, a diet heavy in artificial sweeteners, or a steady stream of ultra-processed food, the risk of digestive discomfort tends to climb. That imbalance has been associated with more than just reflux too. It shows up alongside indigestion, ulcers, irritable bowel symptoms, and a handful of other digestive complaints. The encouraging part is that rebuilding this internal ecosystem doesn't require anything exotic. Fermented foods are some of the richest natural sources of probiotics available. Think tangy sauerkraut, spicy kimchi, tart kefir, briny pickles, savory miso soup, and fizzy kombucha. Working even one or two of these into your daily meals can start shifting your gut environment in a noticeably positive direction. If fermented foods aren't your thing, a probiotic supplement mixed into a glass of water is a straightforward alternative for giving your gut flora a boost. And now, the nutrient-adjacent remedy that tops our list, one you've almost certainly heard mentioned before, even if you never quite understood why it works. Apple cider vinegar starts its life as ordinary apple juice, which is then fermented with yeast until the natural sugars transform into acetic acid. That transformation is really the whole story here. Apple cider vinegar doesn't bring much in the way of vitamins or minerals to the table, and while some raw organic versions may carry trace amounts of beneficial plant compounds and enzymes, its real power comes almost entirely from that acetic acid itself. Research has connected acetic acid to a surprisingly wide range of benefits, including reducing certain harmful bacteria, calming inflammation, supporting healthy blood sugar regulation, and even playing a supportive role in weight management. One whose rut you do allo set and how one whose rut your right lit. That acetic acid appears to help nudge your stomach's natural acidity back toward where it should be, supporting more efficient digestion and reducing the odds of reflux creeping in afterward. Interestingly, acetic acid also belongs to a category of compounds called short-chain fatty acids, which help fuel the cells lining your colon, supporting your body's ability to properly absorb the nutrients from the food you eat. For anyone dealing with a throat that already feels raw and inflamed, apple cider vinegar capsules taken before meals, 2 to 3 at a time, offer a slightly gentler alternative to the straight liquid version. Now that we've walked through 5 of the most talked about natural supports for digestive comfort, it's worth zooming out and asking a bigger question. What's actually driving this problem for so many people in the first place? The honest answer is that it's rarely just one single cause. It's usually a handful of overlapping factors working together. One frequently overlooked piece of the puzzle is a shortage of certain minerals, particularly chloride and potassium, both of which your body needs in adequate amounts to manufacture the strong stomach acid that keeps digestion and that lower valve functioning properly. Chronic stress is another major contributor, since high stress levels can interfere with the specific branch of your nervous system responsible for relaxation and digestion, leaving that valve more prone to staying open when it shouldn't. Ironically, some of the most commonly reached for over-the-counter remedies, proton pump inhibitors, standard antacids, and H2 blockers, can offer short-term relief while potentially setting the stage for symptoms to worsen over the long haul, since they work by neutralizing the very acid your body needs for proper digestion. There's also the matter of Helicobacter pylori, a bacteria that can take hold if the stomach lining becomes damaged, and which has its own way of suppressing stomach acid as a survival tactic. Dietary patterns matter enormously too. A diet heavy in refined grains, added sugar, gluten, and inflammatory vegetable oils tends to irritate the stomach lining in a large percentage of people who eat that way regularly. And finally, a history of antibiotic use or frequent pain reliever use can damage the protective mucus layer throughout your gut and disrupt the very probiotic bacteria we discussed a few minutes ago, creating a perfect storm for digestive discomfort to take root. Understanding the root causes naturally leads to the next question. What can you actually start doing today? Here are 4 simple, practical habits worth folding into your daily life. Habit 1. Work raw, shredded cabbage into your meals regularly. Cabbage might seem like an odd addition to a list about digestive comfort, but it's genuinely worth a closer look. It's loaded with vitamin C, which supports your immune system and helps calm inflammation throughout the body, along with sulfur-based compounds that act almost like a natural antimicrobial agent. Cabbage also carries a solid dose of potassium, along with 2 compounds, glutamine and chlorophyll, that appear to help protect the lining of your stomach, esophagus, and intestines from the kind of ongoing acid damage we've been discussing. It also plays a supporting role in helping your stomach maintain a healthier pH balance overall, which makes absorbing vitamins and minerals from your food easier. The best part is how flexible it is in the kitchen. Shred it raw into a slaw, toss it into salads, or use it as a crunchy topping for tacos and sandwiches. It has a bold flavor, but it pairs surprisingly well with almost anything. Habit 2. Scale back on refined grains and industrial seed oils. This means paying closer attention to processed staples like white bread, packaged cookies, sugary cereals, standard pasta, and pastries, along with cooking oils like corn, soybean, and canola oil, which show up constantly in packaged and fast food. Cutting back on these, or eliminating them where you can, gives your digestive system real breathing room to repair itself. Swap deep frying for baking or steaming. Get in the habit of actually reading ingredient labels before buying packaged snacks, and look for whole grain alternatives like quinoa, oats, barley, and bulgur wheat, which bring more fiber and a broader range of nutrients to the table. On the fat side, lean toward extra virgin olive oil or avocado oil, both rich in monounsaturated fats, along with natural nut butters for a dose of healthy polyunsaturated fats. Building meals around pasture-raised eggs, wild-caught salmon, grass-fed meats, and simply steamed vegetables rounds out a plate that's working with your digestion instead of against it. Habit 3. Make the switch to Himalayan pink salt or Celtic sea salt. Trading out standard table salt for one of these mineral-rich alternatives is a small change that can make a real difference. Both options carry a broader mineral profile and, generally speaking, a lower sodium concentration than typical table salt, along with a slightly different, often more complex flavor that plenty of people end up preferring. Beyond taste, both varieties may help support your stomach's natural production of hydrochloric acid, which, as we've covered throughout this video, plays a central role in keeping digestion running smoothly, and that lower esophageal valve doing its job correctly. If you're currently managing a diagnosed digestive condition, it's still worth checking with your doctor before making significant changes like this on your own. Habit 4. Start your morning with a tall glass of carbonated mineral water. This one is refreshingly simple. A glass of mineral water first thing in the morning delivers a dose of natural minerals and electrolytes that can help you feel more hydrated and alert as you start your day, while also giving your digestive tract a gentle boost and supporting your body's natural detoxification processes. It can help hydrate your digestive tract while contributing to a healthier overall stomach pH. While you're adjusting your morning routine, it's also worth reconsidering how much caffeine you're taking in. Coffee and strong tea can sometimes ramp up stomach acid production in a way that irritates an already sensitive esophagus. If you find that's the case for you, herbal tea or a decaffeinated version of your usual morning drink can be a gentler substitute worth trying. So there you have it. 5 nutrients naturally found in foods and traditional remedies that keep showing up in research and everyday practice for supporting digestive comfort, from the warming bite of fresh ginger to the tissue-repairing power of zinc and carnosine, the acid-restoring role of betaine HCl with pepsin, the quiet influence of probiotics on your gut-nerve communication, and the old farmhouse staple that is apple cider vinegar. Layer in a handful of everyday habits: more raw cabbage, fewer refined grains and industrial oils, a switch to mineral-rich salt, and a glass of mineral water to start your morning, and you've got a genuinely well-rounded, food-first approach to easing one of the most common and most uncomfortable conditions out there. Do you have a natural remedy of your own that's made a real difference for you? Drop it in the comments below. This community learns as much from each other's experience as it does from any single video. And if this breakdown gave you something useful, take a second to like the video, subscribe for more research-backed looks at natural wellness, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next. If you know someone who's been dealing with that same nighttime burning sensation, consider sending this their way. It might be exactly the information they've been looking for. Thanks so much for spending this time with us, and here's to a calmer, more comfortable digestive system.